Today I have a review of the TourBox Elite Plus. This is unsponsored, paid for with my own cash and my unfiltered opinions. Let's go. Get this guy out of the box. Throw aside these instructions that I won't read. And there it is. We're ready to go. The Elite Plus is wired and wireless, similar to the last version. This is dual Bluetooth functionality. That's new. One button swap between iOS and PC. I'll show you that later. 11 programmable keys, 3 dials, 14 total clickable inputs. That's the same. 3 levels of haptic feedback, off, weak, strong. That's Windows only, maybe Mac only. It's not iPad OS is what I'm saying. Hopefully that'll come. 150 button combinations supporting 400 functions per preset. Compatible with iPad OS, Mac OS, Windows, and at the time of this review, they just announced Android support, although I didn't get to test that. It's got an estimated 2-month battery life. The battery life honestly is ridiculous. My kit didn't include the USB-C cable because I have plenty of them, and it didn't include the carry case. I wish I would have got the case. I didn't realize they didn't sell that separate. So in hindsight, I might have picked that up because it's absolutely perfect for this. So if you do want the case and you get it from TourBox.com, you could use my link below and make sure you pick up the case if that's what you're interested in. We'll start with the bottom. You have 4 rubber feet for stability, a Bluetooth sync button, your power switch, and a battery cover. You got 2 AA's in there. You can put rechargeables in there, but they won't recharge through the cable. By the way, as I was filming this, I didn't want to make this an addendum to my other TourBox Elite video, and while it's meant to stand on its own, I did film a bunch of things going over the TourBox console, my Clip Studio Paint workflow, my DaVinci Resolve workflow, and I didn't want to refilm all that and then just do essentially the same video. So while it's not required viewing, you may like that walkthrough and that level of detail that I wasn't able to produce here. Don't worry though, we're going through all the new improvements, including all the iPad stuff in this video. The unit itself is a lot prettier in person. I kind of wanted them to stick with matte black options and stuff like that, but when I got it, I was pleasantly surprised. As of this recording, they do have other options now that are all along the lines of these Arctic colors, so you do have more options in the Elite Plus line. In the back or top of the unit, you have your USB charging port. You could also run the device wired through this port plugged in. And one of the things you'll notice right away is this unit is a hefty unit. It's not your cheap, lightweight, moves all over the place keyboard shortcut control that you might be used to. This guy's got some beef to it. The 3 dials we mentioned are pictured here, upper left, lower left, and in the middle. And they all feel kind of different. The rest is an assortment of buttons, one on the side, and a number scattered across the top. Keep in mind, you can also combine certain button types, and all 3 dials are themselves buttons. So when you click them, they have a button function. Where I'm going with this is there's almost an unlimited amount of configurations, honestly. It's almost overwhelming how many different configurations there are. First of all, there are plenty of presets up there on the TourBox website that you can pull down and custom configure yourself, but my advice would be start slow, get used to using the units, and build more complex configurations later on. If you try right out of the gate to build your perfect setup, you're probably only going to wind up frustrated. When I still had both units, I decided to film a compare, and quite honestly, there really isn't that much different. I will say that on my matte black one, I would get fingerprints and stuff like that, and they said with the new one, you know, this Arctic color, that you don't get that. That winds up being true. It tends to be cleaner than my black one ever was. I always had to wipe that black one down. I've seen different reviewers say some of the buttons click differently or they sound different, whatever. I honestly haven't experienced that, or at least I don't notice it. So what I'm saying is if you're looking from one model to the next, I wouldn't expect a different feel, especially most likely you're upgrading just for the iPad functionality. Now this is the reason the TourBox Elite Plus even exists. It's direct integration with iPad OS. It pairs over Bluetooth and it has its own dedicated TourBox console app. This isn't a workaround, it's direct integration. Now, I'll give you a quick overview of TourBox console on iPad OS, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. In fact, when you open up the screen and you initially pair the TourBox to it, that goes very quickly, very simple, no real problems. The only thing you have to watch out for is between PC and maybe Mac and iPad OS, you might get prompted with a firmware update. You're going to be forced to do that, and you're probably better off doing it anyway. So I found initially that like between using both the devices, sometimes I would get prompted on Windows, and then like a day later, iPad OS was bugging me to do a firmware update too. So maybe I just had to catch up to them, but I'm all good now. Now, looking at the default layout here, you're going to see it's really so simple that it's barely worth explaining. But you're going to click whatever tool you want. For example, right now, this is Erase tool. If I want to change that to the Paint tool, all I have to do is click the button. Here's the one downside. The one downside is on Procreate, there are no custom keyboard remappings, right? Like they have in Clip Studio Paint. So you're really limited by whatever sort of mappings Procreate already knows about. I mean, that's not really a TourBox thing. That's a kind of a Procreate thing. And I know they work closely with the developer, so it just is what it is. Secondly, if you're looking for a different custom configuration, like you see here, I got Clip Studio Paint. It's just like on PC. You're going to pick whichever the one that is, and then you're going to change whatever the tools are, right? So you're really limited by the app, essentially, and how it's configured on iPadOS. I only think there's 2 applications right now that are art-related, specifically illustration tools, and I think it's Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint, which actually have custom remapping, but I don't know, you can kind of check that on your own. But you can see, if we go into custom, any other application that also features remapping capability, you're able to just create a custom profile for, well, any application. So you're not really reliant on TourBox to come out with a configuration if they don't have one. As long as that application either has predefined mappings or they allow custom remappings, you're going to be able to use it. However, if I hit this plus button, you could see all of the different applications as at least the time of this filming that they have available. I think the newest one is Medibang Paint. Any one of these things, DaVinci, right? I mean, if you're using that on your iPad, you just click that and you could still move around the buttons if you want. And if there's remapping capability, once again, then you could change, the custom keyboard remappings in the application and therefore do it on your TourBox. Here's the full application list on iPadOS, along with a video of me trying to get this battery cover off. There's a couple other things, I suppose, like if you don't like the haptic feedback, you could turn it off right here. When you get into this gestures thing, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more when I open up Procreate, but basically you have to figure that something like on Procreate, when you're doing pinch to zoom, what TourBox and their software are trying to do is they're trying to mimic gestures. That's important for later on. And when you really get in here, there is just a ton of customization. If you're dealing with an application like DaVinci or Clip Studio Paint that has just a ton of configuration options, I mean, you're certainly not going to run out of configurations or button options. So let's do this. Open up Procreate. Now, one thing that's really cool, which doesn't actually work on PC, but it does work on iPadOS, is that I can close the TourBox software and my remappings are still going to work. I don't know why it works on iPadOS and it doesn't work on Windows, but whatever. Pros and cons, right? The pros obviously are just being able to get through all these different shortcut options without moving your hand and interrupting your workflow, right? So if I want to change from eraser, you could see everything happening on screen. That's why I'm sharing, kind of the full display and all that. And you have all your brush size options, all your rotate, and your pinch to zoom. Now, if you noticed, everything around this area, it's pinching to zoom and it's rotating at the center. This is what I was talking about with those gestures before. Procreate is designed for gestures. It's not like Photoshop on PC where you're zooming in at that, exact pinch point wherever you might be, especially if you have a touchscreen. And remember, Procreate doesn't have a hand tool. A hand tool typically go like that. They rely on gestures. So a frustrating point for me is if I'm drawing and I'm over here and I want to zoom in, it's zooming in to the center. So I'm still required to take my hands off the TourBox and move it over and then zoom it in. I'm learning how to do that now because I use these pen grips. Again, I'll link the video down below. But I've been learning how to do that with this same hand just so I don't have to take my hand off the TourBox. But kind of annoying. Another thing is, you see the brush options here, right? So this must just be a Procreate thing. But in the TourBox application, you have increments of brush size, 1%, 5%, 10%, whatever it might be. So you do have some options there. But look what happens when I just click the first option. If I'm on this pencil and I click it once, look how much larger it is. Now, if you're using larger brushes like you're painting, that might be not such a big deal. But if I'm doing ink work and I just need a little bit of a tiny increment, I can still get, you see that? I'm still getting a little bit more refinement if I'm just using the sidebar. And just to show you where that is, you know, in terms of the brush size, all of these to this that I showed earlier where you can make all your customizations, if you just click that dial right now, I'm on brush size and I have it on set to this dial, and you could see these increments. So I'm making that big jump even though I'm set at 1%. I don't know, I don't get it. So how do you know if your application of choice is going to fall, you know, under these pitfalls? Well, it's really easy. If you're doing pinch to zoom or anything like that, and you know the application itself is relying on gestures, you're going to have that little dot or the little mouse pointer in the middle, and that's sort of where the TourBox console software is going to go to try to simulate that gesture and then rotate or pinch to zoom or whatever you want to call it, like right from the middle. This didn't affect me that much. I mean, it's a little disappointing, but it's not that big of a deal where, like, I've wanted a TourBox for iPad for so long that I showed you just how I work around it for these little things. And, you know, I found it kind of a joy to use. Everything else just works seamlessly. The button clicks, the haptic feedback, although you do get less options in terms of how much haptic feedback you want. That's something I'll probably bake in here in a future update, you know, as opposed to Windows. But everything else, as far as iPad OS, I'm pretty much satisfied. I just hope they get some of these quirks worked out with Procreate. Okay, let me show you something really cool. I'm on PC, I'm working in DaVinci, and I'm editing some video, right? We see all these things happening, and now I want to move to my iPad. Well, let me show you how easy it is. On the back here, you click this little button, and when this color goes away, you're now right back on your iPad. You got to give them a thumbs up for effortless integration. You're essentially hot swapping between devices with no delay. That's pretty cool. Now, as easy as that was, this explains why they needed a complete hardware upgrade to get this functionality to work. They needed a chip so that you could store those profiles without using the TourBox console app. Now, for me, I don't know that it's a big deal that I can use this TourBox on multiple iPads. I would have preferred if they had those profiles from Windows or Mac OS or something like that, so I could go to multiple workstations. That to me made more sense. But at least this way, what I was whinging about my other videos, about why they couldn't just enable this over Bluetooth, they needed to add an entirely new chip just to make this functionality possible. Okay, we're going to speed run through some feature updates since my last video. Some of these are just really, really cool. Starting off in DaVinci Resolve, we have workspace recognition. Now, let me show you how this works. First of all, you've got to make sure you have a current version of the DaVinci Resolve preset. And what it basically does is, each one of the pages within DaVinci Resolve, it allocates a different set of shortcuts to it just by you switching the page. So for example, if I'm on the edit page right now, which I am, and if I change to the color page, it completely changes all of the shortcuts I have available, which means every one of these pages you have in DaVinci Resolve, you can have a complete custom set of shortcuts for each one. Really, really cool. Okay, I'm going to default here back to my original experimental shortcuts to show you guys how this all works. And the first thing we're going to show is shuttle play or shuttle playback. Simply put, once you have this assigned to one of your dials, it's going to scrub through and allow you to go back and forward through your timeline at different speeds. What I have is when I push the button 2, it'll actually pause and stop playback. So it's an all-in-one button to basically get through your timeline. Okay, Shuttle Browse. I'm going to show you how to configure this really quick. Basically, they're going to be under DaVinci options. And then I have it set to this guy right here. And basically what this is going to do is allow me to shift through the timeline. Now, what would be really neat is if there was an option to let the playhead do that. You know, like, you know, zip back and forth on a timeline using the playhead. But anyway, that's what Shuttle Browse does. Now, HoverAdjust is completely mental. Now, what it does is it completely hijacks these two dials. So no matter what configuration you have set to it, when you're in certain areas, DaVinci Resolve and TourBox kind of take over to do something different. Watch when I go to this color page here. Now I'm in offset, okay? And as soon as I hover over this area and I start moving this dial, which is set to zoom everywhere else, look what happens. I can mess with this color. Same thing with the other dial. Now I'm kind of moving left to right. If I go into mid detail, I can use this one dial to pitch it the other way. Colorists are going to have a field day with this. This is a little out of my depth, but even myself who only makes slight adjustments, I could definitely find use for that. Okay, here's a few new button functions. I think these are pretty cool. The first one is called AB mode. What this allows you to do is you'll have one action. For example, I'm on my default brushes, but I'm going to hold the side button in, and that switches to my eraser as long as I have it held in. And as soon as I depress the button, it's going to go back to my default brushes. So basically, two actions in one. The next one is up mode. This is a little harder to demonstrate, but it's basically you press the button in, it doesn't do anything, and when you depress it, the action happens. So I can think of things like dropping markers, or maybe like deselection or something like that. The next is repeat mode, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of like a rapid fire. So if you're going to nudge clips in DaVinci, or you were going to nudge selections and things like that, that would be useful there. The last isn't specific to a button really, it's simulated mouse drag. And for example, if I was over this color menu and I didn't want to use my mouse or something like that, I can use simulated mouse drag to go across the coloring spectrum here and then pick my color. Finally, in the driver, we have rotation now, where you can take the TourBox and now you can rotate it to whatever your preference is. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, especially if you're left-handed. Obviously, I am not, so I'm going to back out of that. Let's stick the landing on this one. Look, the device is well supported, functional, and performs well. There really isn't anything else like it. And with the added iPad and Android support, it opens up a whole new world for artists on the go, especially who work portable. From a workstation point of view, I can't really live without it, and I love how they keep innovating it through new features. It's a bit pricey, but it makes the creative experience better, and that's enough for me. If you guys want to check out that first TourBox Elite video, you can check that out right over here.